Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to pop in here real quick and just share with you some of the things that I got this morning reading my Bible. Um, my friends and I have been talking about the Jezebelic spirit and just how, sometimes the enemy just wants to come against us and steal, kill, and destroy, right? So if you saw the title, I don't know where it is, title, right? Like, what are we still tolerating? Because it will literally kill us. And so, I mean, I didn't plan on reading about this today. Um, but what I usually do, this is how I do my devotions, is I open up my Bible and I just, what I call the point and shoot method. I open up my Bible and I'm like, okay, God, why did we open the Bible to this page today? And so this is the page I opened to. I don't know if you guys could see that, but it's First Kings 21. And so 21 was talking about Ahab was depressed, and then Jezebel came in and tried to, she tried to fix the problem. I'm going to get to her later. But the chapter before, because I was like, well, it says Ahab, king of Samaria. So it's like, oh, maybe because he's he's a Muggle, because Samaria's Muggles, right? Like half breeds. And I was like, oh, verse 20 calls him king of Israel. So I still have to do some research on that. Anyhow, chapter 20 talks about how Ahab, Ben-Hadad was coming against, I guess, Israel, and Ahab was the king, right? And so Ben-Hadad was the king of Syria, and he had a whole giant army. See, I don't watch Game of Thrones, or I would compare it for you, but I don't watch that. Like, I never started. I don't have HBO, so I have no idea what everyone's talking about in my feed. Actually, I don't have a lot of people talking about it in my feed, which is a good thing, because I clean my feed regularly. Again, what are you tolerating? Like yesterday, I talked about it on my personal page. I'm just going to go live on here for now, but I got rid of my dining table. It had a lot of bad memories attached to my ex-husband, and getting rid of it stirred up some emotion, but after dealing with the whole thing, it was a purge. And like even yesterday when I was driving to hula practice, I was like, why am I crying? But for me, driving is like my sanctuary. So anyway, I was crying, and it was good. It was good to have that emotional release, which is not what I'm here to talk about today. But if you are listening to it, that was probably for you. Okay. Now back to Ben-Hadad and Ahab. So verse wait. Okay, like verse 33 talks about Ahab. Anyway, wait. So there's this other verse here. Anyway, it says that I wrote it in my notes. Let me just look at my notes. Verse 28. So a man of God came and said to the king of Israel, thus saith the Lord, because the Syrians have said, the Lord is the God of the hills, but he is not the God of the valleys, therefore I will deliver all this great multitude into your hands, and you shall know and recognize by experience that I am the Lord. Okay, so what I got from this was, right, how many times in the Bible do we see, like, if we obey God exactly how he says, he delivers Israel out of the hands of the enemy? And they don't usually just like skate by. It's usually a dominating victory, like, but a lot of the times, and so like if you look, a lot of the times with Israel, right? So God gives them the victory. God just like whoosh, like supernaturally, they win the battle, right? It's illogical. There's no way that they're supposed to win, but they win. Like their enemy is like, what? Like there's even like where the enemy will see angels or chariots or whatever, and they run away scared, or because but in the natural, there's nothing there. Like the Israelites have like just a handful of people, handful of resources, but they are diligent to do what God says. Okay, so all that being said, so when we pray and then God gives us the victory, what are we doing? A lot of the times with those kinds of victories in the Bible, God says completely eradicate the enemy. Like leave no whatever, take no prisoners, is that how it goes? Like leave nothing behind. Like even the loot, the spoils, burn it all. Like keep no livestock, keep no women, children, whatever. You gotta eradicate the bloodline of the enemy. But how many times, I don't even know how many times exactly, but there are a lot that it's there. So let's just say, right, so we never really completely eradicate the enemy from our lives. Okay, so this is another fun fact. My husband and I, we like to watch, well, he likes to watch movies, and because he's a quality time love language person, I watch movies with him. I'm like, I could be doing so much more with this 3 hours that I'm sitting here with you. And if it's a movie in if it's a movie in the theater, it's at least 3 hours. If it's at home, it's like fine. But if there's commercials, you know what I mean. Anyhow, so right, so there's so many movies, and I don't know if this is in Game of Thrones either, but there's so many movies where the good guy, right? So they go in, they they win, and then they get to the leader, and because the leader, the two leaders, right? They have mutual respect for each other, and they're like, and they're supposed to lop the guy's head off, or just kill him or whatever, and they don't. They're like, oh, you know what? I'll feel bad for you, or I feel sorry for you. Like, why don't I just let you go? And so, right, they let go the leader of the enemy's camp, not camp, but you know what I mean, right? The ringleader of the opposing side. And what always ends up happening is, right, there's like you can see the evil grin on the other guy's face, and he ends up like recruiting some more guys to come in, fight for him, and they end up causing damage to the good guys. It always happens, right? Because I don't know. We watch a lot of action movies because, again, I watch stuff with my husband. I mean, I like it too, but I love Hallmark movies and I love Chinese kung fu movies. Two extremes, I know, but those are the types of movies that I like. And so, like, but in those action movies, when they don't get rid of the enemy completely, the enemy always comes back and still trying to win. It's like the enemy does not want to lose. And so that's the same way with the enemy in our lives. The enemy in our lives does not like to lose, right? He's trying to fight. I mean, he thought he could be God. I mean, hello, come on now. So, I mean, what makes us think that he'll just leave us alone if we are created in the image of God, and every time he looks at us as believers, he sees God, he sees a threat. So, and right, if you take out us, you're taking out the army of God, and he just wants to win. That's basically what he wants to do. And so my friend Lisa, last night we went to hula practice and then we had leaders meeting. My friend Lisa said something very significant. When we are young, I don't know, young in age or just young in the church, we're taught to love our enemies. And so she was like, I got confused. Like, love our enemies. And then do we have to love the devil? Like, because we call him the enemy, right? And she was just like, wow. And then so, like, right, we are supposed to have compassion for others. We are supposed to, whatchamacallit, we are supposed to bless those who persecute us, right? I have a whole ton of those stories, but we'll save that for another day. We just how, like, I'm being attacked, I'm being persecuted, but because I stayed in love for these people, and because I didn't want unforgiveness and bitterness to latch onto me. I mean, it did in the beginning, and then I had to really eradicate those things. But that does tie into the story that I'm talking about today, Ben-Hadad and Ahab, right? And so, right, when we are fighting against the enemy, yeah, like, yes, bless those who persecute us, people, right? But not in the spiritual world, right? In the spiritual world, whatever, as humans, we are, body, spirit, and soul, right? So when we are all as humans created in God's image. So if people, we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but we are fighting against the principalities. So we have to hate the principalities. We have to. But as people, we can be redeemed, right? And so, let me see. But yeah, we cannot tolerate the evilness that is happening, like that we have to cut off and eradicate completely. So, but a lot of times, so this is the whole point of this live, and I think my arm's getting sore. Because I packed all my things, and so I don't have my tripod. I don't even have my fancy microphone, and I'm scheduled for a podcast interview on Friday. That just came up. It's gonna be so awesome. Like, yeah, when that drops, it's gonna be hot. Anyway, yeah, we have to lop the head off of the enemy in our lives. And there's certain things that we tolerate, like my table yesterday, spirit of familiarity. Like, it's been my table. It's been the table that my family has sat around. But looking at the sixth chair is missing and what happened to the sixth chair and how it happened, like, that was still a memory for me, and I had to really eradicate that. So, and there's other things that I've been tolerating. My coach and my mentor, we've been working on some stuff, let me tell you, just really getting into the core of what, my issues are. Because, like, yeah, I'm a coach, but I still got issues, right? And I'm a relationship coach, but I still have relationship issues. Because, so the other part I had to learn was, when you have a calling on your life, especially in a specific area, the enemy will target you. The enemy will target you in that area. Like, yes, you are blessed. I've learned a lot in relationships. 3 marriages, 2 divorces. I've learned a lot. And I've worked with men for the last 20 years. In my department, which is operations, field work, I think there at the most 4 females out of 80 at one point. And there's usually only 2. At one point, there was just me. There was just 1 of me, and then we got another girl. She left. Anyway, right now there's only 2. There's only 2 females left standing at my old job. But yeah, I learned a lot about dudes and how they think, how they react. I've been married 3 times. Each one has been different, has its own goods, bads, challenges. But where was I going with this? Yeah, we have to eradicate the enemy from our lives. And I gotta go take the kiddo to school. But tomorrow, what I'm gonna talk about is, well, this is what I think I'm gonna talk about. God always shows up, and sometimes He changes the plan. You just gotta run with it. But I really want to dig into more about Jezebel and Ahab's relationship, right? So Jezebel was a very strong woman. I was a very strong, I mean, I am a strong woman, but you know what I mean? Like, she wanted to be power and control. So I know a lot of you here, because this is my business page, I've met you through business. And there are a lot of strong females in my circle. I mean, a lot of strong females in my circle of friends. Because, right, like attracts like. But what I realized was Ahab, he is a very passive dude. Very passive. And a lot of times, strong females, such as ourselves, we get attracted to a passive male because we can still be ourselves, that we can still be in control, we can still be in power. So on that note, I have to save everything that's coming after, things that I want to say, for tomorrow. But if you liked what I had to say today, please share. Well, I don't know, now Facebook's gonna block me because you're not supposed to say share. Blech. Anyhow, but yeah, just stay tuned for tomorrow. If you have any questions about Jezebel and Ahab that you want me to touch on, then just comment below, and yeah, I'll make a note of it and I'll try and answer your questions. Thanks for tuning in today. I love you guys. Hope you guys have a great day. Oh yeah, if you are interested, like, if you notice, I've switched up to being a love coach for single moms. So if you know anyone that is ready, like how I was, like my kids were already teenagers and I was finally ready for my own relationship, love in my own life. So, climbing up the corporate ladder gets lonely. So if you know anyone that's interested, just direct them to my page. Website it's constructed, but it's still under construction. But I gotta head out. Kids gotta go to school. So love you guys. Talk to you soon.